RuneScape Dragonwilds is one of the best new additions to the survival game niche that's been made in a while. I'll preface this video by saying that I'm an old school RuneScape vet, and yeah, I might have a little bias when I say that if Jagex incorporates enough of their RuneScape IP into Dragonwilds, this could be a game to be remembered. Now, of course, this is a survival game, not an MMO, and I don't want it to be anything else, but there's a reason why old school RuneScape is alive and thriving. That being said, Dragonwilds is in pre-release right now, and it's somewhat bare bones of a game, and I understand that. I've already sunk over 50 hours in it, and I've already completed every quest, maxed my levels up to the level 50 cap, and collected just about every piece of masterwork weaponry there is to make. All I have left to do now is pop open a bag of beef jerky and make videos like this, hoping someone over at Jagex might take my considerations to heart. I absolutely love this game. It has a great foundation for future content, and I want more reasons to play it. So with that, here are 5 content ideas that can make Dragonwilds a long-term play for me. Number 1, skill-locked gear. Now, I think this is less of a desired inclusion of mine as it is a must-have for the game. I shouldn't be able to start a fresh character and cheese my way to tier 4 gear in less than 3 hours. Give me an iron shield and longsword, and basically the game has no challenge left. RuneScape did this right, with a new player being able to wield bronze right out of the gate, then unlocking the ability to use iron swords at level 10 attack, steel at level 20, and so on. Now, I imagine as the game continues to develop, there will be higher tier weapons. Hopefully, Jagex will utilize the different metals from RuneScape like Mithril, Adamant, and Rune. This is one of those situations where pulling from their unique IP would just be freaking awesome. But it's not just weapons and armor that should be skill locked, but pickaxes and woodcutting axes should be locked behind advancing your respective levels as well. This gameplay addition would tremendously help fix what is currently, in my opinion, a fatal flaw. And that is that level progression has very little incentivization. Once the skill caps have been fully released at level 99, I need a reason to keep grinding. And this brings me to the next content idea. Number 2, PvP and player rankings. Why was OSRS so good? Competition. Yeah, RuneScape has some of the best lore I've ever seen in MMOs, and that unique RuneScape flair is hard to beat, but at the heart of the game, at least for me, the option to grind and eventually flex my hard work was the biggest draw. If you ever managed to rise to the top of the leaderboard for any skill, players instantly knew how many hours and how much dedication you put into the game. And like I said, I don't want Dragonwilds to be another MMO, but if you're borrowing from OSRS with skills and other mechanics, you should borrow everything else that makes those mechanics great. And at the very least, we need an online leaderboard to track high-performing players. But along with that, we need an incorporated PvP mechanic. And I'm not talking about what we have now. Griefing is the worst form of PvP. But an official in-game function for players to meet up and duel, like the duel arena. Something like that could be incorporated very easily into my next content idea. Number 3, community hub. Flexing that in-game gear is super cool, but sometimes you just want to take a break from all the violence and burdens of survival and just kick back and have a good ale with other players. If you've played OSRS, you can't tell me that you didn't just get burnout every now and then just to seek a reprieve at the Grand Exchange, or before that, the Varrock Bank. And if you weren't unlucky enough to get scammed by your digital girlfriend, you were just having fun watching the trash talk floating around in bright color text. I get that this is a very MMO feature, but it will work well with Dragonwilds. Just give us a new area that acts as a separate instance where the new civilization of Ashenfall is starting to build. There's a kinship fellow RuneScape players have, and that's from years of community and shared experiences. Give us an outlet to talk to other players without the threat of griefing, where we can relax in between waves of warband and snot storms raining from the sky. And if we did have a community hub, it would lay the foundation for even further content ideas like what's next. Number 4, player economy. This is an absolute given. With the hoarding of resources, we should be able to get rid of all the excess somehow, albeit trading with other players. The Grand Exchange was one of the best ideas Jagex has ever come up with. It added a whole new depth to RuneScape and an avenue of gameplay that you could just get lost in. Sometimes, the only thing I would do when I logged on was trade at the GE, trying to become a gold tycoon and absorbing all of RuneScape's vast wealth. That alone could add hours of content to Dragonwilds, as well as give another way to compete with others. Could I have the most XP in the game, as well as the most gold? And it would play well with our first content idea. You couldn't just go buy an iron sword if you weren't leveled enough to use it. And even if you bought enough iron ore to level your artesian all the way up to 99, you'd still have to mine it all yourself to increase your mining level. I think the best way to do this would be to make gold coins the most rare resource in the game. You could even implement an entirely new skill in order to find gold coins, something like archaeology. Imagine digging for remnants of an old civilization that used to dwell in Ashenfall and finding currency they used to use. You could clean it and repurpose it for in-game player trading. There's so much extra content that could be added alongside a player economy and hours of gameplay that it just feels right, and it feels like a real miss not to include this. Number 5. Rebuilding a civilization in Ashenfall. With player bases and construction being such a big gameplay mechanic in Dragonwilds, it seems only natural to include more features from RuneScape's construction skill as well. Most importantly, hireable NPCs. Alright, I want a butler that I can set jobs for, like automatically running my ash logs in the salt mill, or a chef that I can use my collected food resources to make the most efficient meals. More than that, I think having set areas in each zone that we can permanently turn into settlements for a new civilization would be amazing. It could be part of a long quest line, where once we secure those areas, we can build specific buildings that are designated as unique trade buildings. Let's build a forge and hire an NPC to work there. We could use the gold coins from the player economy I mentioned earlier to buy metal bars or armor from them. We could even use the player hub to hire the NPCs. A gameplay mechanic like this would breathe much needed life into Ashenfall, and only add hours of in-game content. And that's all I want. More gameplay, more actual reasons to play the game, and less reasons to make videos. But if you enjoy videos like this, and you enjoy Dragonwilds, give me a like, a follow, and a subscribe. I will be making more videos like this. And if you have your own ideas of content you want to see in RuneScape Dragonwilds, then give me a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'll include it in the next video. This is the very first video I've made. I will be covering all of the updates for Dragonwilds and everything that's coming in the future. I'm excited where this game is going, and I'm excited for the foundations it's laid. I loved old school RuneScape, and I cannot wait for the future of Dragonwilds.